I'm going to show you how you can save millions of dollars when taking in-app purchases inside of your iOS mobile application, inside of your Lovable application. We're going to use the Despia SDK to detect the store location and then use alternative billing methods that are 27% cheaper than in-app purchases to charge them outside of the application using Stripe, and thereby saving 27%, paying a tenth of what we would pay for Apple for payment processing. So make sure to watch this video fully, because if you're making $4 million a year, you're going to save over $1 million in commissions that you would otherwise have to pay to Apple. And what I'm going to show you in this video is 100% compliant with Apple's guidelines. So make sure to follow it. It's super simple. So as you can see, I have my application. If I click on subscribe now, I'm doing a native in-app purchase inside of my Lovable mobile application. Now, here's the thing. This costs 30%. Now, if I'm taking Stripe payments through a Stripe payment link, I'm going to pay 3%. That is 10 times less. So how am I going to set that up? You can do this actually completely legally with Apple's guidelines if the user is in the United States, because Apple did lose a big lawsuit and a big case in the United States of America. So if you go to lovable.despia.com, you can take a look at store location access, and you will see that using despia.store-location, you can get the store location. And then you can render your buttons like, if store location equals USA, then show the web purchase button. So you can add an hey, checkout with Stripe button if the user is in the United States, and that will take 3% instead of 30%, which is a big difference. So let's implement this. We're just going to copy this prompt from this page here that is ready for Lovable. I'm going to paste this inside of here, and I'm going to say, if store location equals USA, show a button highlighted saying check out with web, and if store location is USA, also make the revenue cat button smaller, looking like a link rather than a button, and have it be positioned under the web purchase. So what does this do? We're still giving the user to use in-app purchases. We're still giving them the option, but it's going to be very small, harder to click, and the highlighted one to click will be the web purchase, which will save us 27% in commission. So obviously we want to highlight that. So there you go, if the store location equals USA, and that's about it. We can send this now, and now we'll be able to have Lovable set this up for us. So now there's one thing that we need to make sure that we have set up. Now in this example, our payment processor will be Stripe. So the domain is buy.stripe.com. We need to copy the domain of the external purchase link, and we need to go into Despia, make sure that your Despia project is already connected to your Lovable project. And we need to go to Open Always in Browser and make sure that we have this domain for the purchase link added inside of Open Always in Browser. Because if you don't have it added inside of here, it will open it in an in-app tab, and that will trigger a rejection, because Apple will not allow you opening a Stripe link in an in-app tab. It has to be opened in Safari. That's one of their guidelines. They lost the lawsuit, so they're now trying to do it as hard for you as possible to set it up, so they get more reasons to reject you, so you give up and use in-app purchases. But we're not giving in. We're going to set it up like this with this easy to set up feature. And then if you haven't added it already, just make sure that you're now going to republish your application, click on one button, rebuild the application. It's that simple. But I already have it set up, so I'm all good on that. So now, as you can see, if we take a look at the code, we are importing Despia from Despia native. That's good. Double check that you're doing that. We're accessing the store location from despia.store location. And then we are going to open the Stripe link just like this inside of here, when this is appropriately set up, when we have the store location be United States. So we take a look at this here. We're only showing this button if it's USA because of the latest lawsuit. So you can adjust your code to show certain things based on whatever country just won a lawsuit against Apple. How cool is that? Let's update this. The beautiful thing is working with Lovable and Despia gives your application updates over the air. So I just updated this. I do not have to wait 10 days for Apple to approve this update. It's one click of a button inside of Lovable and the application is fully updated. So let's check this out here. Let's close this in here and let's open that. And now, as you can see, here's what will happen. The UI will be different. Look at that. So now it says checkout with web. That's the primary focus. And then subscribe with AppStore is small under it. So if I click on subscribe with AppStore, it will now do the in-app purchase. But when I click on checkout on the web, it will now go to my Stripe payment link inside of Safari. This is important. When you open Stripe, this has to be opened in Safari and your app has to stay in the same. You can't open it as an in-app tab in your application or you will get rejected. But there you go. Checkout on web. This will open the web link and then you can still have very small under it subscribe with AppStore. Click on there. It does the native in-app purchase. But this small change is going to be mostly not noticeable for most users. Now, the non-US users will still have the big button say, subscribe now, and they won't have this link checkout with web in there because we can't do it in that jurisdiction. But if they're in the United States, which is the majority of probably most of your app consumer market anyway, you can set it up like this. It's going to be a nice first-class experience. It will open Stripe. They can still do Apple Pay, so you don't have to worry about that. You got full Apple Pay support here. It just does the purchase in the on the web version of your of your checkout page. It just does it in Safari. But besides that, you're good to go. And then you still have the option for people who want to do in-app purchases to do in-app purchases if they want to. And that's about it. That's how you can set this hybrid approach up. It's pretty cool. And my phone is overheating right now because I'm sharing my phone. It doesn't work that well with this new screen mirroring thing I'm doing here. But there you go. That's how you set it up. You got the Apple checkout here. You can do link checkout. You can, that they can now even purchase with Klarna, Cash App Pay with a US bank account, and also all of their local payment methods. So they got even more payment methods than the App Store would give them. And you still have in-app purchases going on here that they can subscribe to. Let's subscribe to an in-app purchase just to end this video very nicely. Look at that. We can now do both. We got a full hybrid approach here. And that's how simple you can do it. And then you can also do Stripe. Now, one thing to note is that when you go to a Stripe checkout link, always make sure that you include a parameter for the client reference ID to link it to your user record. So you can link the external purchase that happens in Safari with the user ID. That is very important. Otherwise, you don't know who purchased. And then also when you go back from the external checkout back into the app, you want to set up app links, universal links, but we're going to have videos about that, how to set that up in detail. It's very simple. But that's the whole experience. That's how you can do that. Right now, it is only for the US App Store, but there you go. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments. And I can't wait to see all the exciting applications that you're going to build with this. And hopefully you're going to save lots of money when it comes to Apple commissions. One thing I want to note, though, is RevenueCat actually did a little study. They purchased a business, an application, implemented web checkout, and then also in-app purchases. They ran some A/B tests, and it turned out that doing in-app purchases has a 40% higher conversion rate compared to web purchases. Keep that in mind. So based on what you're doing, it may make sense doing one, it may make sense doing the other. I would say do an A/B test. Half of the users get web purchases highlighted in the US App Store. Half of them get in-app purchases highlighted. See what works better in your examples and in your use cases, and then use ultimately what works best. But I would always give users both options, but you can still highlight one of those. There you go. That's how you set it up. And I can't wait to see you in the next video where we're going to talk about even more amazing native features and how you can implement them inside of your lovable mobile application using the Despia SDK and Despia. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that, and see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.